Yo, what is going on, guys? Episode 73 of many. You've got just me today, Colton here. I've got a couple notes to talk to you guys about. First, though, if you guys did not listen to last episode, I had Jim, a financial advisor, on the show. We had a very good conversation just talking about kind of like the few needs that everybody should have in place with their finances. So if you didn't listen to that episode, go back, check it out. Let me know what you think. I want to know if you guys get value from that kind of stuff. If you guys want to hear more of that, when I get feedback, it helps the show, obviously, in the episode. So, anyways, today I've got some new things that I'm going through, so I wanted to bring those up to you, and then I've got a couple messages, and it'll be a quicker episode today. So, something that I'm currently doing today, and today's Wednesday, so this is releasing tomorrow. I've been working up on fasting, intermittent fasting. My normal diet, what I do with fasting is I try to keep my eating window as small as possible. So the last couple weeks, I've been trying to minimize my eating window. So what that means is I'm trying to eat my last meal, probably around 3, 4, 5 o'clock at latest. And I try to eat my first meal 10, 11, noonish. I'm trying to only eat like 2 meals a day. I'm trying to keep my fasting window to be like 18 hours and then only like a 6-hour window of eating. So that's kind of what my goal has been as of recent. But the reason I'm doing that is there's studies out there. Intermittent fasting is good. If you go back to like our ancestors, like the original diets of, us, we weren't able to just wake up and eat breakfast. We had to go out and hunt for our food and didn't know if we'd have 3 meals a day, right? Like these ancestral things. So I'm trying to fast. I'm trying to see what benefits I get from it. I like to use myself as kind of like a test dummy. I like to see what works, what doesn't work. And I think that's the best way to go about it. I don't think you should just join a intermittent fasting group and be like, well, this is the way because this is what they're all saying. I think everybody is a little bit different. Everybody functions a little bit different. So figure out what works for you when it comes to dieting, when it comes to, these things that we're talking about. So for me personally, I've been working on fasting. Today is going to be my first 24-hour fast that I'm intentionally doing. So what I mean by that is yesterday I had my first meal at 11:30. That was my first and only meal. So today I'm going to fast until 11:30 and eat my next meal. So I'm super excited for it. I will let you guys know kind of how I feel. Usually for me, when I don't have enough food or like enough fat, because on the diet that I'm on with carnivore, I'm using fat for fuel, being in ketosis. So I notice when I start getting to that like 18 to 20, kind of that range I'm in right now, I might not sound as competent today. My brain just doesn't have as much to work off of, or at least that's what I'm telling myself. So I'm getting close to the end of that fast. I will let you guys know kind of how it ended up the rest of the day, but I just want to share with you guys, 24-hour fast, first time ever. I want to build up to that 36 to 48-hour fast. Apparently the first 24 hours is the hardest, and then you kind of see some magical stuff happen around that 36-hour mark. So I do want to build up to that like water fast and maybe eventually do like a 72-hour fast as well, just to try it and have some feedback and be able to know what everybody's talking about. So fasting is the first thing on my list. If you guys have done it, if you guys have experience in it, I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'd love to hear your input. Whether you are just an intermittent fasting person, you don't eat breakfast until 10 or 11 and you eat your last meal early, cool. If you do a 12-hour, 16-hour fast, I just want to hear what your routine is. I want to know how it affects you and what your pros and cons are. And if any of you have tried a longer fast, 24, 48, 72, please let's connect. I'd like to know more. So that's first. The second thing that I'm focusing on as of recent, and I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but I'm going to take it a little bit more seriously, is I will be doing a 5-mile run for a Turkey Trot. So instead of a 5K, it'll be a 5-mile. My mom and sister signed up for it, and then they kind of just asked, me and G, the producer, my brother, if we would like to join. So I said, you know what, let's do it. It gives me something to train for, something to like focus on and put my head down. For those of you who have listened to a lot of my episodes, I talk a lot about setting goals and having a reason or having a why to do something. As you get older, unless you have a pure motivation to just always be in shape, my why is like being in shape long term. I want to live longer. I want to live happier. I want to be strong. I want to be able to function when I'm old. That's my main why. But for me, I was an athlete in school. I don't have anything to necessarily train for other than like general health. So I think me training for this 5-mile run will actually give me something to like want to improve on, want to complete. And I'm not really going into this like I want to run 5 miles the fastest ever. Like this is my first race. It's not really a race. It's more for myself, but it'll give me kind of a starting point, and then also it'll give me something to train for and look forward to and focus on, right? So the reason I'm saying this is if you've listened to me before, maybe signing up for something sporadically to give yourself more motivation to do this. Maybe you want to do 5Ks and you want to walk a bunch of 5Ks. Maybe you want to, go hiking or, whatever. There's Tough Mudders. There's these events that I think forcing yourself to sign up for them. And don't get me wrong, you can pay to run a 5K or you can just go run a 5K on your own. But sometimes that money, giving away that money, that value, it forces you to take it seriously. It forces you to realize I'm going to be up on this day at this time and I'll be involved in this race. And, you have to get your little number pinned on you. So there's like other things than just, I can go do it. Why would I waste the $30, $40 on this? So think about it. Find events that work for you. I think it's a good, powerful tool to use. And I will let you guys know how that goes. So in my normal routine right now, and that's kind of where I'm going with this, I'm working on my fasting. And now I am incorporating running more. And what's really cool is my mom and sister are also doing it. My sister was in cross country and track. She's got a running background. And actually, G is also going to be running a little bit more as well. So it's just kind of cool. It's bringing the family together. It's giving us something to do. Tomorrow morning, we're actually going to go on like a little family run. So it's cool. It's bringing us together. We're all going to be kind of like that 1% better together and something to work on. So I will be running more often, trying to do probably 3 or 4 days a week of just short runs. I'm just going out there with my mom. Whatever she wants to do for the day is what I'm doing. So that leads me into my next thing. Lifting, my workout routine. I am going to be petering back a little bit or taking a little bit off on my lifting routine instead of going extremely, I don't want to say extremely, but instead of going as hard as I have been going in the gym, I'm just going to take it back a little bit. If I have the time and energy, especially since a lot of this is happening while I'm fasted, if I have the time and energy to get a really good workout in, I'm going to. But if I only have 30-ish minutes or so to get a back workout in, that will suffice for now. So I'm going to kind of shift my focus to the running aspect, the recovery aspect, and actually the next thing I'm going to say is the stretching and mobility. I did yoga for the first time in a long time this morning at the house. My mom, myself, and G. So by no means are we flexible individuals. The yoga that we were doing was just at home on the TV, far above our level of flexibility and mobility. But flexibility and mobility are very important for longevity. And this is one of those things that I think I don't obviously speak on it because I don't do it. But I would like to have somebody else on that's very mobile and flexible and can talk more on the benefits of this. But for longevity, for living longer, healthier, happier lives, you need to be strong, but you also need to be flexible and mobile. If you lose that flexibility, that mobility, we break things, we hurt things, we stretch things, right? Like there's negative things that happen as we get older and we age. So just keep that in mind. I'm not going to preach yoga, but I think getting in a normal stretching routine and maintaining flexibility, if you have it, keep going with it, don't lose it. If you don't have it, like I don't have it, just realize that you can get it. It just takes time and practice. And if you don't focus on it, you're never really going to have it. So for me, I'm going to shift a little bit more towards that mindset as well. So I'm going to focus on my running. I'm going to incorporate more stretching and hopefully do yoga a couple times a week at home as well with mom and G if he decides to as well. So that's my current routine on like my fitness aspect. My diet's still the same. I'm high protein, mainly carnivore. So that's the direction that I'm going. We're gonna train for this run. It's on Thanksgiving, so I've got 3-4 weeks to kind of get ready for that. We're gonna focus on our flexibility, stretching, mobility, recovery, good sleep, and then the lifting is going to still be very consistent. I actually, fun fact, I took Monday morning off from lifting, but before that, I mean, I was working out 13, 14 days in a row. Some of those workouts were easier. Sometimes there were 20, 30-minute arm workouts, and other days there were, heavy leg days and stuff. So that's my current fitness routine. So now I've got a couple things that I want to give you guys that I've been doing in my personal business, professional life, whatever you want to call it, and something that I encourage you to do. So I know I've talked about this a little bit. I use Google Calendar for all of my scheduling needs. That's how we operate our businesses. So for Priority Fitness, all of our guys get scheduled on Google Calendar. It's just an easy, cheap way for our business to operate. We create a job, we copy it to the individual. They know that we're going to go to, for example, Watertown today. The guys are all down in Watertown. So I use Google Calendar to organize my everyday life when it comes to work. And I try to personally get as much on the calendar as I can to get out of my head and so I don't forget things, but also to just have a plan of attack. It's very easy to go into work with no plan of attack. And I'm talking to all of us. Like, it's so easy to go into work and just be like, well, what do I got to get done today? Something that I'm trying to do much better of is pre-planning my week as much as I can. And also, like, the day before, let me review tomorrow. So tonight, I'm going to review tomorrow and verify that my schedule looks good. I've got everything fitting the way it needs to. I need to do better on this because I need to have, like, the podcast recordings. When I do my interviews with individuals, I need to do a better job of scheduling that stuff out and following with that. I've got a couple calls that I have to hop on week to week with mentors or other business owners and just learn more. So making sure I'm getting on those calls and not missing them, right? So the thing that I'm trying to say is forward thinking as much as we can and writing it down, whether you use Google Calendar, a notebook, whatever. Don't overwhelm yourself. Like I said, don't have 20, 30 things. I do like to have a list of things that I know need to get done, but that might not be necessarily my list of to-dos. That might be like a list of things that I know need to get done and I need to talk about my team with, or things that I just can't let slip my mind. And what I've realized when I create these long lists of things, that a lot of them don't necessarily need to get done, or they are like side projects that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And not saying they don't matter, like if I did them, they would help something, but the main tasks that need to get done today are the main tasks that need to get done today. So I know I've talked about the one thing mindset. If I accomplished one thing today, that would like just change the day or make it a successful day. What is that one thing? So I think what happens with a lot of people is you write 20 things down that need to happen, and then you feel overwhelmed, and we actually didn't get done the things that needed to get done because we focused on X, Y, and Z that just weren't as important. So organizing your day, having a running to-do list is fine, but don't let that cloud your brain or don't let that give you any brain fog or concerns, or just keep that off to the side. Go through that list, grab 2 or 3 of them that are the most important and put them on for your to-dos today. And that's your focus. If you get done with those to-dos and you're looking for stuff to do, go ahead and look at that long list of things. Maybe grab a couple easy things that you want to get done. That's fine. I have a job on my calendar that's called to-dos, and then that's at like 3 a.m. And then I also created a new one called follow-up. I think I mentioned a couple episodes ago, I don't do a great job with following up with my team. I have a lot of trust in my team, and I believe in my guys and my girls. I believe in my team. So I give tasks, but then I expect them to be done, and I expect them to follow up with me if something didn't get done, right? So I'm trying to do a better job. If there's something that I kind of talked about and kind of threw out there, and I didn't necessarily give a to-do date or a due date or a by-when date, that I've got on my calendar to follow up with them. So this follow-up job and this to-do job are on the top of each of my days. And at the end of each day, I will move them over to the next day and keep moving them over. And then I'll copy them over to the next week when I'm there. And I just slowly mark them off. So personally, I've got this Google Calendar again that says to-dos, and I will go through them and I will actually highlight them. I will italicize them. I will put X's by them. I'll cross them out, whatever it is. So that way I know I've got that task done. I don't have to worry about it, but look, it's still there. I don't erase it. I want to see that I've completed things. That's a good little memory hack for us, or a little brain trick. We feel good when we can see those things have been completed. So track your stuff however you want to track your stuff, your to-dos, your issues. I sometimes even do this for personal things. Say, don't forget to shave your face. Like I look like, I haven't shaved in a couple weeks. I'm not much of a beard facial guy, but I need to clean myself up, So like sometimes I will use it, like don't forget to cut your nails, don't forget to shave your face, don't forget to, whatever. So I do sometimes write those things down as well. I also use my calendar for my workouts, or at least I'm trying to. So for example, the last couple of days I've woken up and I've gone for a 2 to 3 mile walk in the morning. I've got my run scheduled. I've got my lunch scheduled, so I know when I can eat today with my fasting schedule. I know when I might go out to the deer stand. I've been hunting more often recently, so those things are all on the calendar as well, as much as I need them to be. And the other cool, powerful tool about this, again, for me personally, and I know I'm talking about this for a while, but around these small towns, and a lot of you listening probably are aware, obviously you guys are aware, but a lot of you listening maybe fall victim to this, but what do you do on Friday nights and Saturday nights in the town, in the state of Wisconsin, or these small towns that we're in? A lot of the times is you go out with friends, you grab some beers, maybe you stay in and drink some wine, whatever it is, maybe stay up a little too late, unexpected. The tool that I do like to use is like scheduling out a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning. So if I want to be productive, if I write it down, I'm much more likely to make it happen. So like I never write, for example, right now, I'm not going to go put hunting Saturday morning just because like I don't like to really wake up in the mornings and go hunting. I'd rather wake up and work out and hunt in the evenings. That's just the kind of person I am. I'm not an avid hunter by any means, but if I don't schedule my Saturday morning, I'm more likely to maybe screw up my Friday night routine into my Saturday morning. So if I plan a workout with 2 or 3 guys Saturday morning, hey, we're going to go for a run. We're going to go get a lift in Berlin or Watoma. We're going to go to Amro and check it out. We're going to go do a Baraboo delivery, which we can talk about that. I know a lot of you probably don't know about that yet, but we've got these things, like if we write them down, there's just much more power there in holding ourselves accountable and getting those things done. So plan out your days. You don't need to know every little detail, but it's just a little trick that I noticed that when I do it, when I write down Saturday, I'm going to do this in the morning, or Sunday, I'm going to do this, and I put it right in my Google Calendar, more than likely I'm hitting that activity. So forward thinking is the most important thing that I'm trying to say there. So think ahead. Don't wait to get to the office to make your day's plans. Write down on your calendar, on that to-dos too, like in the evening when you're just laying around, you're reading your book, you're watching TV, if you get an idea like, oh, I can't forget to do that, write it down. Go into your Google Calendar quick and write it in your to-dos for tomorrow, just so you don't forget it, so it's logged somewhere. So I would also like to mention, I encourage writing down your ideas. This is something that I don't do. I have a ton of ideas, but I don't do a good enough job of logging them. And they say when you start logging your ideas and writing them down, and you just kind of have like an idea bank, maybe just have a Apple Note or something in your phone, or you're texting yourself every idea you ever get. The more you like write them down and remember them and actually like acknowledge them, your brain becomes more creative and you have more ideas. And so I haven't personally tapped into that tool yet. It's something I want to do, but even, like Sam Walton of Walmart, when he was around, he would always carry a notebook in his back pocket. And if he heard something that was interesting, he'd write it down. If he had a new idea, he'd write it down. And that was just like his idea bank and his memory bank. Everything that came to him and sparked, he would just write that down and he wouldn't forget. Jesse Cole of the Savannah Bananas, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Savannah Bananas, but he encourages the same thing where we all write down crazy ideas. And then, a couple times a year or whatever it is, they'll go through that idea bank and they'll start pulling ideas out of there. And some of them might be ridiculous and some of them might be great ideas, or they can use some tweaking. So you never know when you might need those. Again, when it comes to business, I always have random ideas and thoughts and ways we can change things. And sometimes I say too many of them to my staff and team and might be overwhelming them, where if I just wrote them down, I could come back to them. So another note of mine on here, I've got 2 more things to kind of leave you guys with. So my personal leadership and letting others lead is my note. Something that I'm working on actively, and I actually just had a conversation yesterday with a buddy of mine out of Michigan, is how well do us as leaders like allow other people to take over our roles? And the only reason that we do this as leaders is so that us as leaders can grow to the next level and we can take on more, not important items, think more visionary roles, attack more projects. And as a leader, it is not easy to just give up your roles. And a lot of small business owners, and I think this is valuable for anybody listening, if you're an employee or an employer, to realize how it is coming from a leader. So when I do things, and I'm not one that has to do everything myself. Clearly, we've built a team. We've got a lot of moving parts. So I don't have this like need to have my hands on everything and touch everything. But there are certain things that I hold close. Like I'm naturally a leader when we go on a big job for Priority Fitness. And so this is actually where I'm going. And so within Priority Fitness, Kyle and Nolan run that side of the business. And then we meet and we make decisions. And I do still work with them. So if we have a major install, I go on the major install. If they are shorthanded guys, somebody's on vacation, I fill in and I'm on that install. And I have no problem doing that. But something that I have a problem with sometimes is keeping my ideas to myself and sitting more in the back seat on those installs. Something that I'm trying to transition to is when I go on those jobs, I'm just another guy on the job. Not that I can't lead, not that I can't help people with what they should be doing, but specifically when I'm working with Kyle, Kyle is the lead on those jobs. If he is there, I encourage him to be the lead. I encourage him to run the show. And I know sometimes that I am stepping on his toes. I've got a different idea than he does, right? And as a leader, it's not easy, but it's something that I need to let go of a little bit more. And it's something that I'm actively working on. So this isn't like a major issue that's causing major problems. This is just something that I know Kyle and I have actually had conversations about already. And something that I'm trying to realize myself too is that there are tasks that I've been doing for 6, 7, 8 years running Priority Fitness when I'm on those jobs. So now when I still come on those jobs randomly, I'm all about speed and efficiency, and every leader has their own way. It's like when you have 2 or 3, I always use this example, when you've got like 2 or 3 like handy guys, you put 2 or 3 husbands together and they're going to fix a bathroom, they're going to build a wall, they're going to do some drive, like whatever like little repair they're going to do. They all have their own way of doing it. And so when you put them together, unless they play nice, usually they're like, oh my gosh, this guy's such an idiot. I want to do it my way or my way. So that's just like the typical nature, the ego aspect. So I am doing a good job, or trying to do a good job, of realizing that, taking a step back and letting my team do what they need to do, and then just be there. And then obviously if they need my help leading or they want my opinion, I can do that. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. So if you're in an employee role and you're working with your boss, or this goes for every role. This isn't just the owner. This is your manager. This is people around you that maybe you're getting some of their tasks. It's not easy to just give them over and not be concerned about it. So there is tension and friction there. And usually the person who's receiving those tasks get upset easy because they're like, you told me to do this and now you're just stepping in. That person stepping in isn't trying to do that. It's just like a natural thing to them still. So they're trying to work through that. And I think depending on how that's happening, if you can have a good conversation and just say, if Kyle would tell me, hey, Colton, this is a prime example, like just an FYI, I'm sure you noticed, but this is one of those things where I don't necessarily need your help here. Like I'm working on it, or I've got it, or whatever. So, and it's not easy again, it's not easy from Kyle's standpoint to say that to me. Like I've been working with him forever. I'm one of his best friends. Like, right. So just realize that it's not as easy as it seems off the bat. And it does take time, and having a good, honest conversation about it. We're trying to step on your toes and not let you do your job. It's just like, it's a constant thing that we're working on. And I don't think that everybody probably realizes it as nicely as I'm realizing it to you guys right now. So don't expect your employer or your manager to be quite as understanding as I am right now, but that's kind of how we see it and how it feels. So just an FYI. My last note here is second chances. And so this is relevant right now to us because we have an employee that just came back to work with us that had stepped away with us about last year, actually, like at the end of 2024. He no longer worked with us. And he worked with us for some time, and he's a great guy. I'm not here to talk badly. It is me as a leader, I really believe in second chances to a degree, depending on what the individual did. And I'm saying this because you can take this to your personal life and your business. Depending on what that individual did, of course, there's things that like you can't if you cross a line, you cross a line. There's non-negotiables in every situation. If I catch you stealing stuff, I'm not going to give you a second chance and be like, well, you're not going to be a thief the second time around. If I catch you, there's several, I don't need to go on the extremes here, but there are several things that you can do that would be non-reversible in our decisions. So with this specific individual, it was more of just like, again, we're a bunch of, and this is on the Priority Fitness side, but we've got a bunch of young guys and we work hard and we don't have many systems in place. So Priority Fitness by no means has been a perfect place to work over the years, but it's been a small business. It's been a fun small business. We enjoy our time together as a bunch of young guys. So, I think just like the lack of systems and organization and all of these things like lead up to stress in certain individuals, which is fine. And we don't want to do that. So anyways, this individual reached back out to me. Hey, I'd really like a job, but if you don't need me, I understand. But like, I understood when I worked with you guys that you guys didn't mean any harm and you guys wanted the best for me, and right, like a really nice message. And that message alone really changed my mindset on the situation. And Kyle and Nolan lead Priority Fitness, so I don't like necessarily just make a decision and tell them this is what we're doing. Any situation that comes to me, I run it by them first and verify they're on the same page and they agree, or let them decide on what they want to do and then come to me about it. So this individual is reaching out, sent me this really long message, and the message was actually very to the point in what I needed to hear to kind of flip that switch. We weren't in the need for anybody necessarily right now. We're not busy enough to like promise full-time work, and I don't want to promise anything that we can't, fulfill on. But he nailed everything in that one message. I forwarded that on to our guys, Kyle and Nolan. They, I think, really appreciated the message as well. And really the biggest thing for us was like a positive attitude. And that was one of the things that we were seeing in this individual prior. And that was one of the major things he was bringing up in this message to us. So my point is that I think a lot of people are very emotional in their decisions. They hold grudges. They want to hold grudges forever. They want to be pissed off about that family reunion 12 years ago and like still won't talk to that person. They want to hold their ex partner of some sort, 5 years, like you hold this hatred in us for whatever reason it is or whatever situation. And, we only go around this world once, and it's important to let things go. I'm not saying you have to go and be best friends with these individuals. I'm not saying you have to befriend them and forgive them, but I do think you need to at some point let go, forgive, move on. Otherwise, they're just like they're in your head, what they say, rent free, right? Like they're just bothering you. They feel like there's like a weight on your shoulders because you're constantly thinking about it. So having that conversation, getting the things off your chest, giving a second chance if it's a mutual, you both are interested in doing that. I think those are important things to remember. So if you're going through something right now, if you have a situation from years ago that has not been resolved, again, I'm not saying you have to become best friends and mend relationships, but at the same time, think about all the good times you had before and the relationship you did have before. And I'm not saying go back to your ex from 5 years ago. That's not what I'm condoning, but just look back at some of those situations, figure out how to get that weight off your shoulder, how to feel a little bit less stressed about it, and move on from it. And if you can give a second chance and do that, then I would say go for it. My leadership, I give lots of second chances, not to like several people, but I've given lots of second chances. I don't want to say that I'm soft, but I do care about people greatly. I do believe in the best in people. I want to see them be, again, everything I preach here, I want to see them be the best versions of themselves. I want to see them succeed. I want to see them happy. And so when somebody that I know comes to me and I've known you for years and you've worked with us, I want to give you a second chance. Like I want you to prove to the team that you deserve to be here and that you want to be here and that you care about, I care about you still, So do with that as you please, but look in your life and try to do some self-reflection and see if there's any situations or relationships or, that you might want to mend. And yeah, I think it's a powerful thing to do when you can let go, when you cannot be concerned, when you can stop worrying about that person in the back of your mind. It's just a good feeling. And also being the bigger person is like such a powerful thing too. Like once I know I'm the one that gives the second chance, like I just feel like, what, if they screw up again, who's in the wrong? Like I gave the second chance. I bent over. I was willing to allow you to, back in my life. So use that in your personal life. You got, a business or a professional life that you want to take that to as well. I think it's important. Drop the emotions. Again, the long-term grudges, like just get me. It's like, why do you hate somebody from 5 years ago that said one thing? Why does that even cross your mind? I don't know why it's an important thing to worry about. So I'm going to leave it off there. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Like I said, let me know if you've done any fasting in the past. Let me know if there's anything. I really want feedback. I want honest conversations. If you see me in the gym, pull me aside, tell me what you thought, give me some feedback. If you've got me on anything, Snapchat, if you've got me on Facebook or Instagram, shoot me a message. If you've got my cell, if you know me personally, shoot me a message. I'd love to have a conversation. But fasting, yoga, going for runs, whatever, like if anything pertains to you in specific, or if there's any goals that you're working on, like I want to have conversations. I want to hear the things that you guys are accomplishing. I also want to know, like, if this podcast has helped you in any way, maybe keep you motivated. Maybe it's what you look forward to in the week. Maybe you have got a great story that you want to come on and talk about. We are going to do the application style for that as well. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. If you want to add me on Snapchat, Colton.Burt, Colton.Burt. Instagram, ColtonBurt19. Find me on Facebook. If you want to email us, Garrett, Garrett, at fitnessgrizzly.com. So I appreciate you guys, and I know I mentioned something about Baraboo. I will bring that up on the next episode. So thank you, and we'll see you soon.